Ansatsu Kyoshitsu Assassination's classroom. Everybody give me a clap clap. Sorry, I can't clap. Brandino Wolfensteino. Anyway, caught up in Ansatsu, and we are waiting for that next chapter to drop because I am like ready for it to happen. But as we know so far, last chapter that dropped for Ansatsu no Kyoshitsu Assassination's Classroom. I'm gonna say the whole damn title every fucking time. Ansatsu Kyoshitsu Assassination's Classroom. Anyway, we finally get the reveal of Kuro Sensei's true form. And we knew from episodes before, if you read from before, that he is the original god of death. So that skeleton-faced bullshitter that was basically his number 2 was trying to take over the title, but he was too busy being cocky that, he didn't have the ability to do it. And it was always crazy how Kuro would always manage to outthink the enemy. So you would think like, oh, well, how is it that he's able to kind of be so cunning and be able to figure out a way to diffuse all of this stuff? How would he know about that? Because he did it already. He was the original god of death. He's learned so many things already just for being an assassin. So to think like, the way I thought about it was Kuro Sensei was just up studying at like Mach speed all the time, every day, to catch up, to make sure that the students knew all of the stuff that they needed to know. What I discovered now is that he was already that intelligent. He already knew all of these different procedures and different things like that, precision and medical field type things and everything. He knew that stuff already. The only difference is that now he's actually using it as a teacher instead of doing it as, as an assassin. So we see how the girl, which was like a crazy surprise to me when I started catching up, the girl that's always like around Nagisa, she was the original teacher's sister, and she was just acting the whole time. She's good. Like, I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my god, all that entire time she had tentacles. But besides that, they showed the breakdown of his original story and how he's gonna die soon, and how like he if only he just wasn't so enwrapped into his killing intent, he would have been able to save that one lady's life that finally saw him for him. And it's like, to think like the crazy thing about this manga is that he is technically a villain the entire time, and even as the teacher he's still technically that villain. But because he's reformed so much and he comes off with such a personality that you just, if you hate him because you love him so much. It's like you can't imagine him being that murderous killer. And the fact that, he's lived such a rough life, which when the fake god of death used that story about how he was bad, that was really Kuro Sensei's story. And I'm like, yo. So that's where he stole that story from. Because he did say it was like a friend's story. But, it was basically his master's story. But yeah, so like now, Kuro Sensei has revealed like the full extent of why he's dying and what's happening. Because eventually, regardless of what's going to happen, he's going to die on March 13th. And they're in January now. So they are all like coming to grips with the fact that in the beginning, this teacher was the most goofiest, ridiculous teacher that actually managed to get some results out of them. And the entire time, he blended the idea of, you guys gotta kill me if you can catch me, with, study hard and you'll make it to the top. And he combined both of those in such an intricate way that it is interweaved into them. And they just can't let him go. And they're like, why do we have to kill this guy? But I mean, if you think about it, he's supposed to die regardless because he slain so many people in the past, and this is, even though it's only like a small thing that he's doing, he's repenting for like all of his crap. He still murdered mad people, so he has to die at some point. But it's like, you think of how much he reformed from then due to that teacher's like effect on him. It was like, you know, now he's basically as nice and as kind and as ridiculous as she was. And he's kind of mimicking, which also, when I found out that the principal of the school used to be kind of like that too, where he was kind of cunning, but he still was like a good guy until his student like got killed because the student was too busy worrying about books and not worried about, you know, personal strength. And that's why he's such an ass to the entire school. But Koro Sensei factored in all of those different people and made his personality out of it. And it's like, now that it's like they're closing in on the end of the book, which I'm thinking like, oh god, Ansatsu's gonna end. Like, it's just, it's upsetting. Which I'm hoping that, you know, not saying that this might happen, but I'm hoping that the end will be like he will die, and you know, everything will be sad and whatever. But it'll be kind of like one of those where, you know, you look back and you're like, yeah. So it's kind of like one of those endings where it's like, you know, it's, even though he's dead and it's kind of sad, it's like that kind of happy, sad thing. Like he made it to a better place kind of thing. But catching up, it's like now we're at the point where they're saying like, now we have to go continue with school. Now that we know the full reason behind how why and how he is. And it's like, we have to kill this guy? Oh, I can't take it. So that's basically what's happening in Ansatsu no Kyoshitsu. I keep saying Ansatsu no because I'm thinking of Boku no. So that's my review on the chapter so far and the most recent chapter. Everybody's pretty sad about it. In the chapter, I don't know if people in actual life who's reading it is like, oh, this is kind of sad. I'm kind of sad, but. So I hope you liked the review. If you haven't checked out Ansatsu no Kyoshitsu, hold on. Oh God! Read it! Read it now! This is actually the Japanese Raw. I always show this off. This is the only one that I have because I haven't been able to make it to Japan again. So this is the real Raw one with all of the Japanese text that I can barely read because I don't read Japanese. But read it. Read it now because it's such a good book. So yeah, if you haven't read it, please read it because it is a wonderful, wonderful book. And the crazy thing about it is I read manga all the time. And I always wondered how people were so fascinated with like actual reading where it was like just lines of text and everything. Like I can't read like normal books. I have to read manga because I like the reactions. I laugh at like the visual aids. But I mean, I guess in normal books it would do the same thing if you read it and you're like imagining it. But I kind of like the visual aids better because you kind of get to see the actual, what the artist was thinking about when they did the thing. But even though my man Koro Sensei is gonna die eventually, don't let it get you down because the dawn always rises on a new day. Brandina!